Negotiators at the COP27 climate summit say they have struck a potential breakthrough deal for compensating poor nations for climate disasters.
The president of FIFA has accused the West of hypocrisy in its reporting about Qatar's human rights record on the eve of the World Cup.
Anti-government protesters in Iran attend the funerals of two people they say have recently been killed by the security forces. The characteristically cheeky murals of Britain's anonymous street artist Banksy pop up in Ukraine's bombed-out cities.
Negotiators at the COP27 climate summit in Egypt say they have struck a potential breakthrough deal on creating a fund to compensate poor nations that are the victims of climate change-driven extreme weather. However, EU leaders have said no deal would be preferable to a bad deal.
Let our message collectively, the ministers and myself, be clear to our partners here today. The EU is here to help bring about a very good result, but we also have to be very clear. We'd rather have no decision than a bad decision. So let's make sure we have a good decision.
Activists have been staging demonstrations daily outside the conference. Radical action is needed, they say, with large cuts to emissions before the decade is up, if we are to stop irreversible climate change.
On the eve of the World Cup in Qatar, FIFA President Gianni Infantino launched a tirade against Western critics in an explosive hour-long monologue. Infantino made a passionate defense of Qatar and the tournament and accused the West of hypocrisy in its reporting about the nation's human rights record.
This doesn't mean that we shouldn't point at what doesn't work. Here in Qatar as well. Of course, there are still things that don't work and that need to be addressed. But this moral lesson giving, one-sided, it's just hypocrisy.
The event has been overshadowed by issues in Qatar, including deaths of migrant workers and treatment of LGBTQ+ people. Host Qatar will kick off the tournament against Ecuador tomorrow afternoon.
Mourners have attended the funeral of Azad Hossein-Pour, the latest protester to be killed, this time in the Kurdish city of Mahabad. Another funeral on Friday sparked protests in the southern western city of Izeh. Videos circulating on social media showed hundreds of protesters at the funeral for 9-year-old Kian Perfalak, who had been shot dead. His mother blamed the security forces. Protests also erupted in the eastern city of Zahedan, which has seen the deadliest violence since the protests began 2 months ago. The protesters say they're fed up after decades of repression by the Islamic regime that they say is both corrupt and dictatorial. But the government has tried to link the attacks to the protesters and blame all the unrest on hostile foreign actors without providing any evidence. British street artist Banksy has released a behind-the-scenes video of the making of 7 new murals he created in cities across Ukraine. Earlier this week, the anonymous British artist confirmed he was behind artwork spotted in Irpin, Borodyanka and Hurenka. Banksy posted photos of his artwork on his Instagram page. In Borodyanka, there's a mural of a small boy doing a judo throw on a man, which is suggestive of the judo-loving Russian President Vladimir Putin. It looks like it might be Banksy's, although it wasn't posted on his Instagram page. Also in the town, there's a mural of a gymnast in black and white, and it's painted so she looks like she's performing a handstand on the crumpled remains of concrete blocks that poke out of the blackened wall. Borodyanka was the target of shelling and fighting in the early stages of the Russian invasion, which turned apartment buildings into charred, bombed-out hulks.